Meantime, as Americans feel the pain from these high prices, Democrats keep pushing for more spending. Coming up this hour, the White House is going to hold a press briefing ahead of the debt limit talks with President Biden and congressional leaders. That's later this afternoon. But joining us now, Senate Budget Committee member, Indiana Republican Senator Mike Braun. Senator Braun, it's always great to see you, and we thank you for joining us today.
Good to be on.
It was a spending problem that got us into this mess. A mess, by the way, that we are not out of the woods just yet. We might not even be in the thick of it just yet. And yet you've still got an administration and the Democrats unwilling to negotiate with Republicans and say, okay, you want to raise the debt ceiling? We are going to concede. We are going to cut some of this spending because it has gotten out of control.
No doubt about it. And if we can't, as Republicans, articulate this one, I've been preaching about it since I've gotten here, because let's go back to the Trump tax cuts. They kept saying $150 billion per year. Well, they're running $2 trillion deficits now and projecting those indefinitely into the future. It has nothing to do with revenues. You look back historically, we never generate revenues more than 17.5–18% of our economy. It's about spending, and those chickens are coming home to roost. I stay in touch with Main Street America businesses. They've been seeing these issues arise several months ago, and now it's all culminating. And yes, this is time to at least do something different than what we've done for the 4.5 years I've been on the Budget Committee. No budgets, nothing preemptive in nature, and now Biden and the Democrats, with their enterprising over the last 2 years, it's on them.
Another chicken that's coming home to roost, you could argue, is the interest expense on servicing that debt alone. Are you guys on the Budget Committee, is Congress as concerned as we are about how much more of our budget is now going to servicing that debt and paying off the interest of that, especially now that rates are 4% and not 0% anymore?
Definitely. And it was about 3 months ago, our crew that are fiscal conservatives did a press conference, and I asked about 30 reporters, do you know what 1% of 30 trillion is? It's so abstract, it's so out there. They guessed 300 million. They were off by a power of 1,000. Then I said, now that you got that, what's 4% of 30 trillion? That's 1.2 trillion. That'll be priced into our debt on top of the 500 to 600 billion. That's as much as we spent on the entire last omnibus bill, defense and domestic. That's how big that factor is.
Senator, we're still obviously deadlocked on this debt ceiling problem, yet I'm reading, and I don't think this has changed, the president's going to Japan right at the moment when we need to get this finalized. What does that tell you? Does he not care that we have the problem? Or is there something in the works that he's not telling us that's going to bring that debt ceiling up?
They have enterprised so aggressively over the last 2 years, so they're stuck with it. He is the only one that's put a blueprint out for our country's future, $20 trillion more in debt. So they have no good answer. I guess jumping on a plane and heading east, maybe that's all you can do. So I don't know what they're going to do, but we as Republicans need to keep it out front. Some of us have been saying this for a long time. We need to hold firm. You can't escape these issues. You're going to have to confront them, and it's a spending issue, not a revenue issue.
Senator John Durham finally releasing his highly anticipated report criticizing the FBI's involvement in the Trump-Russia probe. The mainstream media, of course, playing an active role here as well.
The problem is that there is not going to be accountability because the media was an active participant. They weren't played by this con. They participated in the con. And so they're hardly going to cover the details of this report. But it's damning. And it's sort of like Murder on the Orient Express. They all did it. And so nobody's going to be held accountable.
Senator, you want to talk about election interference. This was it at its worst, and then trying to take down a sitting president as well, wasting millions of dollars of taxpayer money on investigations in the process, and wasting all of your time as well. Will there be any accountability?
Well, when I was listening to a broad array of reaction earlier today, that mainstream media says it's a dud, a nothing burger. I mean, this is so out of touch as well. It's going to be up to Jim Jordan and the crew in the House to make sure this doesn't fade away, because Durham did everything but come up with an indictment or with some recommendation to the Justice Department, and it wasn't there. But you can't let this all go undebated, and I'm hoping the House will take it up. We don't have much to do here in the Senate, but this is stuff you can't sweep under the rug.
Senator, the FBI responded to this by saying, hey, we fixed the problem. We've already made all the changes we need to make based on this. Do you buy how the FBI is responding to this right now?
No, I think they've been co-conspirators on this whole mixing media and politics, and it's clear who they've been backing. I don't buy it at all, and it's again up to us as Republicans to articulate it and convince the people in the middle that really make a difference. And I think the case, again, just like the economy, this is on our side.
Senator Braun, thank you so much. Good to see you, sir.